Right, so there are three levels to reality. Of course, there is the head, which is the upper world, the chest region, which is the middle world of the common world of man, and then there is the lower world of the of the lower world, right? Now, anyway, here I am drawing the neck and the chest region. Excuse the desync. I actually recorded this and didn't have audio, so I have to re-speak it. That is the heart in among the lungs, and what you want to visualize is the sun in the sky, right? So you can all imagine a nice blue sky with all the clouds, and then we have the sun. Now this is what is this is like in the body, right? So our heart is our sun, and the lungs is like the sky with the clouds and air and all that kind of stuff. And then we have the stomach, and the stomach is the earth which we stand upon, and also the clay and such. And then the liver is the greenery. It's the trees, it's the grass, it's the moss, it's all the vegetable relating materials and such, right? So here we can see the middle world of man. Now it's the middle world of man because this is the world that we mostly inhabit. Most of the time we see trees and buildings. We can think buildings are kind of like related to, the earth element or the stomach. If they're really high, then they become like the lungs or something. And the kidneys, of course, our fifth, this is like the dark waters, but the kidneys are the lighter higher waters, which is just the streams and the ponds and the lake beds and such. The dark waters is the bladder. Now, here I am drawing the underworld. Right, so the underworld is your pelvic region and your belly, and your hips and your legs and such, and of course the stomach. Excuse me, not the stomach, the guts is the large area in the underworld, and below it is the bladder. And I relate the bladder to oil, like petrochemical oil, underground water channels and such could be the bladder or the generative center. And the bowels I look at as bedrock. Essentially, if you played Minecraft, you know that you can't go down a certain amount. You have bedrock and you just can't mine it unless you cheat the game. The bowels is the bedrock of the body. It holds up and kind of supports everything. I mean, technically the diaphragms do, but And then, of course, we have the large intestines. Small and large intestines are kind of like the ores, right? If you mine deep into the earth, you get all these ores and crystals and gems and oxides and sulfates and whatever kinds of carbonates and such. So underground, the idea of underground is where the wealth is. Underground is where all the money is. And of course, the upper world is the head. And what happens when you look up at the sky when it is dark, you see the stars, assuming there's not enough light pollution. And the lower world is a mirror of the upper world, and the upper world is a mirror of the lower world. So the head, the way you think is relating to your lower areas, which is like relating to resources. And it's also the middle world is influencing all of them and being influenced by all of them. So of course, the brain is the stars, the sensory organs and such. And there is like an upper brain, middle brain, lower brain. And even parts of the head, like the mouth is related to the bladder and the kidneys, it's the water, right? The middle of the brain is more related to like the heart, I would assume. The mass of the brain is more related to the lungs. So each part in the head relates to one of the 5 major organs in the chest, or the 5 major organs in the lower body. Technically the spleen, which is the earth, stomach, yin. Technically they call it the yang one, actually. I think of it more like the yin one because it's like the bladder of that, but whatever. Technically that's in the upper body, and also the gallbladder is in the kind of the upper body, but you just gotta work with it, right? Hopefully this gives you some kind of idea on how this all works, and of course, you can think like what organs are functioning well and what aren't, and you can just focus inside the body, will relate and tell you what is like working well and bad. And if you interact with like a lake bed, you live near water, you're going to get more of that energy. Geographically, wherever you live, you're going to get the energy of that thing. Whatever part of your body you use, you're going to stimulate that area and it's going to get stronger. Maybe you could use it too much and it gets weaker or whatever. So you do need to take that into account. And here I am drawing a tree on the earth and showing you the tree is the liver, again the green, and then we have the air, which is the lungs, and the stars, which is the brain. More greenery here. And I draw a little, like some water. So the water, again, kidneys. And then we have ore, which is the guts. So, minerals and ores and the stuff which kind of keeps everything, upright and such, and compresses and all that. And then we have oil, as I said, petrochemical, like crude oils and such. And then we have bedrock. At the bottom, that little line is like the bedrock. And then I just talk about how the legs are like, if you wanted to go below the bedrock, the legs would be it, but technically the legs are just an analogy of the body. Like the thigh is kind of like the belly, and then the knee is a bit more like, I don't know. Anyway, that's about, and then the foot is the lost. Anyway, that's about enough. So I hope you enjoyed that.